I wasn't supposed to be here, according to statistics. My mother was in prison when I was 14 years old. My dad, he was in and out of prison. I didn't meet him until I was 24 years old. According to the world statistics, the deck was stacked against me. If you would look at my life back then, you would say that my future was already written. But God had another plan. See, I'm living proof that you can break generational curses. And I want to share with you how I was able to break that generational curse and create a legacy by generational wealth and generational knowledge. I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, desire to dream. What do you mean? Take a good look at my life. Yeah, my future it gleams. Desire to dream. What do you mean? I cannot lose. Cause I got God on my team.
Hey, welcome back to the Desire to Dream podcast, where we turn your purpose into power and your dream into discipline. I'm your host, Lo Wilder, published author, business coach, entrepreneur, and international speaker. Look, I'm really excited to talk about today's podcast because it's something that hits home, and I believe that it resonates with those that are listening right now. Most of us, if you're listening to this podcast, you're either in a generational curse or you broke a generational curse. Like, some people don't even understand that they're living in a generational curse. I know that because I was that person many, many years ago. I thought that it was normal to live with a single mom. In fact, I didn't know that fathers lived in homes until I went and visited my boy when I was like 12 years old, and his dad was staying with him. And I was like, bro, like, what is he doing here? And I really thought like he wasn't supposed to be there. I was shocked. I was shocked because for so many years throughout my whole entire life, my dad was not in my life. You see, I was adopted at birth and I didn't know because the man had adopted me, gave me his last name. He was a great father at the time for about 5 years, but I was a little boy and I didn't even know. And after that, he was in and out of my life. I never seen him. And that's why I'm opening up this conversation today, because it's something that we need to talk about, and that's generational wealth and generational knowledge. Like, did you know that if your parents were to own a home, you have a better chance of graduating college? You have a great chance of avoiding being a teen parent. You have a great chance of owning your own home in the future. Like, it's extremely important to understand the importance of home ownership, which is the gateway to creating generational wealth. Generational wealth has become this cliche saying that everyone is talking about, but I don't know if they understand the true meaning of generational wealth or how to create generational wealth. I want to talk about how you can start creating generational wealth by owning a home. Home ownership isn't just a transaction. It's the gateway to creating generational wealth. That's why I started my mortgage business, because I didn't just want to close transactions. I wanted to open doors to generational wealth, doors to futures for people to cross in a line that they've never thought or imagined that they can do it. And I do that through different programs that we offer. I do that by educating our people and what it takes to buy a home. And for most of you who are listening to this podcast, if you do not own a home, I want you to know that it's actually easier than you think. Now, for me, currently, I'm licensed in the state of Florida, and I'm working on getting my license in multiple states. So if you're listening to this and you need some education or you need me to direct you, best believe you can tap in, send me an email, send me a comment, whatever the case may be, and my people will get back to you. So I want to help you because this is truly the beginning, the first step to creating generational wealth. Creating generational wealth isn't just for you to live in a home. It's so that you can build a future for your family, leaving a legacy. And this is why we see the generational gap in wealth from Americans and Black and brown people. I'm Puerto Rican and Black. And let me tell you something. It was very difficult growing up because I grew up in Section 8 housing. I grew up in the projects. I grew up in the ghetto. Like, I seen people living on food stamps. We lived on food stamps. It was about the 1st and the 15th. Like, I know what it's like to live on WIC. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what it was like to struggle. Most of my people know, like, we say we came from the mud. Like, I don't just talk about it because it sounds great. Like, I really went through a lot of struggle in my life, and I thank God for it because it truly created the person who I am today. And I'm so grateful for the things that I have. And this is why I'm so passionate in what I do. Look, I'm here to help families, help our youth to see why it's so important, to see the bigger picture. Buying a first home, buying your first home is an investment. It doesn't have to be your forever home. You purchase a 3-2, a 2-2, whatever the case may be, if you're depending on your situation, it's your investment home. It's to get your foot in the door. And I share with my clients all the time why renting is one of the worst ideas that you can do. Let's say you're renting that apartment for $2,000 and you live in it for an entire year. That's $24,000. Now let's do some simple math. And I know a lot of y'all, you don't have no calculators, and I don't expect you to do that. But $24,000 in a course of 5 years is $120,000. That's $120,000 in 5 years that you gave to your landlord because you're afraid to going into home ownership. You're probably thinking, oh my God, what happens if I need a new roof? You have insurance for that. Your deductible is sometimes $1,000 as low as $500. $500, $1,000, you pay your homeowner's insurance deductible and you get a new roof. What happens if your air conditioner goes out? Then you can get a loan against your home, like a second lien loan, to help improve your property. These are things that people don't know, and they're afraid because they live check to check. Like, trust me, I get it. I lived check to check in the past. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have, more days than you have money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get paid on Friday and you like, I don't even know how I'm going to get to these next 2 weeks. I understand the mindset. Best believe that. But here's the truth of the matter. You put $120,000 into your landlord's pockets in the course of 5 years. And over the course of 5 years, you're going to get equity into that property. Trust me, my wife and I have bought 4 homes in the last 6 years, and we sold 3 of those 4 homes. And every single one of them, no matter what the environment was, look, you guys know the last 6 years, we've had an up and down market. We had COVID. We also had low interest rates. We've had high interest rates. And every single property that we sold, we made money on. So I'm telling you, you will build equity. So your first home is your investment home. Then you rent it out and you purchase the second home. And now your second home is being paid by you, and your first home is being paid by your tenant. Now you're going to make more money by renting out your first home. So some of that extra cash you can either save in case of an emergency, something happens at the apartment, or you can put it into the next house that you're living in. But it's the beginning of creating generational wealth. That rental property is the first stream of passive income. Some of you that are listening to this podcast, you may not know what passive income is. That's like mailbox money, or that's making money while you sleep. You probably heard that term before. Making money while you sleep, trust and believe, is the best way to make money. The next way to make money passively is through investments like the 401ks, or now cryptocurrency, which is very popular, whatever the case may be. But invest in money so that you can gain, profits for the future. Our first home, my wife and I borrowed from our 401k. You can borrow money from your 401k to purchase a home and not get penalized with taxes, and you can pay yourself back with interest. I'm not talking about taking the money out and paying that penalty. I'm talking about borrowing from it, leveraging your assets and putting it into the home. You can do that. So if you work with a company, you have a 401k, talk to your financial people and they'll be able to help you so you can purchase a home. But I promise you, the main thing is to get out of that rental property. But when you're renting a property for 5 years and put $120,000 in your landlord's pocket, you may, best case scenario, you may get your security deposit back. Like, for real, let's really think about the importance of purchasing your own home. So if you're in a different state and you're not in the state of Florida, I highly advise you to talk to someone. And if you have any questions, like I said, inbox me and let's talk. One of the other key important things in creating generational wealth is securing and ensuring your wealth. Like, if you're establishing, purchasing homes, and you have money in the bank, and you know there's a lot of things that's happening, there's one thing that most of our people forget about, and that's life insurance. A lot of people are living without life insurance. So what happens when you're home with what happens to you when you pass away? Let's say something happens accidentally and you pass away. What you're going to leave behind with your family? If you can get a $500,000 policy for $150 a month, is it worth $150 a month if something, God forbid, is to happen to you and your family gets $500,000 or even $100,000, whatever the case may be? Because here's the thing, when you pass away, you're no longer working. And so your spouse, your partner, whoever it is, your children, the money that you were bringing in, you're no longer bringing that. So it's important that you protect your assets. The other thing that a lot of people get screwed, because they're like, well, I got life insurance, Lo, and that's great. But sometimes your life insurance is tied to your job. So when, like me, I was working for a company for 12 years and I had a life insurance policy. And when I left, guess what? That life insurance policy expired. It did not come with me. I could not transfer it to another agency. I lost it. So if you have an employer who's paying for your life insurance, that's great. But what happens when you leave your job? So you want to make sure that you secure your assets, you secure your future and your family's legacy. Look, I know I'm hitting you guys with a lot of stuff, and I know it's a lot of difficult, conversations are had when we're talking about finances, when we're talking about our future and our legacy. But the truth of the matter is that we're all going to die. That's something that, God forbid, doesn't happen as soon as you expect it, but it does happen. And you want to make sure that you're prepared for your family and you're prepared for, your arrangements and those type of things that happen. It's very important. So just get in the bag, making money, working at a job, getting promotions, that's all great. But if you're not doing the things that I just talked about, then you're not creating generational wealth and you're not leaving a legacy behind for your children. Look, I wrote the book Desire to Dream because I know what it's like to have everything against you, but still have some hope. Just don't know where to start, where to go. So if you haven't purchased my book, Desire to Dream, go to desiretodream.com and order you a copy of the book. It's a blueprint for success, a blueprint for their plan, not my plan that I laid out, but I give you guys a blueprint that you can actually work out for your future and for what you want for you and your family to leave for your legacy. Now, generational curse is this. It's when you grow up into a situation or you're born in a situation and you become a product of your environment. Your parents didn't go to school, so you're like, hey, I didn't go to school. Here's another curse. Your mom didn't graduate from high school, so you graduate from high school, and now you feel like you broke that curse, but then you don't have no other plans because you were like, as long as I can graduate from high school, then I'm good. But there's gotta be more. God created each and every one of us with a purpose. He created each and every one of us with something spectacular that only you can bring to life. One of the things that I share with my youth is that the wealthiest place in the world is the graveyard, because in the graveyard, that's where many people took their gifts, their talents, their skills to the grave and never brought them to life. They never wrote that book. They never sung that song or created that album. They never drew that picture. They never built that building. They never built the house. They never acted upon what God gave them, and they took it to the grave. So that's where the wealthiest place is. So many people take their gifts and talents to the grave with them. And a lot of them, here's the curse. A lot of them say, well, Lo, I had to take care of my family. How are you going to explain yourself to your maker, to the creator, that you had to take care of your family when he put something inside of you to get you that money? A lot of us are stressed out. We have anxiety. There's depression because we know that there's something deep down inside That's your spirit. So if you're listening to this right now and you feel something deep inside, I want you to know that as you have something greater, you have a greater purpose, a bigger dream that you need to live out. Because if you're just on the road or working at 9 to 5 and going to your second job and you're feeling miserable, it's because you're not living in your purpose. Look, I know that's easier said than getting it done, but the truth of the matter is that you have to plan an exit strategy from leaving your job to going into your purpose. And I promise you this, when you're living in your purpose and you're walking in your purpose, God will provide. He will provide your every need, but you have to have faith. What allowed me to be in the position that I'm in is my faith, my dedication, my work ethic. All of these ingredients created the person who I am today. The loving father, the loving husband, the entrepreneur, the business owner, the community leader, the youth director, the published author, the speaker. All of these things was through faith, knowing that I had something great inside of me, and I know that I'm striving for something more, and hard work, discipline, consistency, and just the desire to dream. And look, the beauty is that there's still more inside. There's still more that I'm searching for. There's still more that I'm striving for. Like, my goals is to live in multiple states. I want my family to have the freedom to be able to live in different states. Man, I got one of my homeboys that's going to be on the podcast next week. And I'm telling y'all right now, he's got like a blueprint for success, and he's just living out his dream. His family, like, they get to live in Costa Rica for the summers, and he's building stuff out there. And I don't want to tell his whole story, but he's doing phenomenal stuff. So he might be on next week or the following week, but best believe that podcast is going to be fire. But listen, I want to live in multiple states. My wife and I have property and land in the Bahamas. She's Bahamian, and I want us to finish building out the home out there so that we can have a place to go in the summers to our place in the Bahamas, right? I want to have a place in Massachusetts, my hometown. I want to have a place back in Georgia where I was living at. And I want to have a place in Texas. I just came back from Texas and it was beautiful. But how I do that is by living out my purpose and working hard. The dream is big. The grind has to be harder. Like, the grind has to be bigger than the dream. And that's the thing. That's how you break the curse. You break the curse that you just keep pushing no matter what. Look, people doubted me, man. People didn't think I'll be where I'm at right now. I live in a 6-bedroom house that my wife and I was able to build here in Florida, man, by the grace of God. Like, we drive wonderful cars. We got a beautiful family. We get to go out. Like, I mean, I am super, super blessed. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it because it's a part of my testimony. And I was tested a lot. I literally ran out of gas in Florida when I first moved out here. I didn't have no money. I moved to Florida with $500, bro. And I got it from people donating it to me right before I left, because I had to pay off some stuff, and I literally had about $500 and I think $33 in my pocket, and I drove down to Florida. Didn't even know where I was gonna live or nothing. And 15 years later, I'm in this beautiful home because of hard work, dedication, blessed because I was obedient and I was faithful. And now I have this wonderful wife who's incredible. And my wife's a doctor. She got her PhD, educated. She's beautiful, hardworking woman, a wonderful mom. She's a music director at our church. She's a licensed mental health counselor. She's about to publish her second book. Like, I am super, super blessed, man. And I'm sharing that because it's a part of my testimony. So look, if you're going through it, I want you to know that there's hope. There's hope at the end. I want you to know that your faith, the size of a mustard seed, can move mountains. You have to have faith. But faith without works is dead. So if you ain't putting in the work, if you're not waking up and you're not grinding, if you don't have a plan, there's a saying that people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. If you do not have a plan, if you do not have desire to dream playbook, get one. If you need a coach, call me. If you need a coach, call me. I will help you. I will guide you. That's why I do this podcast. This podcast is for me to drop game. So I hope you guys are taking notes. I'm going to have powerful guests on the call. I'm going to have powerful guests here on this podcast that's going to share their journey. They're going to give their nuggets. They're going to give their blueprints. And I want you guys to grow. I want you to desire the dream, but I want you to ignite the dream by taking action. I want you to break that generational curse in the name of Jesus. I want you to live out your purpose and your calling in your life. There's greatness inside of each and every one of you. I know it because I know who the creator is, and I know that he placed something inside of us, but it's not going to happen by just guessing. It's not going to happen by hoping. It requires work. The dream is free, but the grind is sold separately. Listen, I hope that this podcast bless you. And if you think that it can help and inspire somebody, please share it with your friends. Please hit the like. And look, I'm here to inspire, to encourage, and to empower my people. So create generational wealth through homeownership, get yourselves in investments, and go out and get a life insurance. I'm going to be talking more about this in future podcast episodes, so stay tuned. God bless you. I love you, and I'll see y'all on the next one.